Hey guys, welcome back to the channel and thanks for taking a few minutes out of your day to watch today's video. Much appreciated. And today we're going to have a topic or discuss a topic that is really fascinating to me, and that's talking about the giant oversized lures for bass. Um, you know, I just really amazed at some of the people that throw these things and do a lot and the size of fish they catch on it. These oversized baits, they got popular out in California, years ago, back when there was a period of time back in the 90s where, you had a rash of these 20-pounders being caught. And, Clear Lake in California, it got famous for these giant swim baits, and that's where sort of everything was born. And then there were some anglers that started taking it back east, and they'd have sporadic success on it. And the thing that really got me fascinated by it is I followed, Oliver Nye, one of my fellow Megabass pro. And Oliver won the Big Bass Bash a couple of years ago up at Lake of the Ozarks on the Megabass 262T glide bait, which this sucker weighs 6 ounces. It's almost 12 inches long, and won the tournament on that. And I was watching a lot of Oliver's videos and that type of stuff, and just seeing him throw these things like on these giant rods and fishing all day long for 1 or 2 bites. I'm just impressed with that type of discipline it takes to it. And the question and what I wanted to talk about today, are they worth the investment, and are they worth your time as far as fishing them? Is the effort versus the reward there? So have a little conversation about this. First of all, let's talk a little bit about the time of year to throw these things. The big giant baits that we're talking about, I want to show you 3 of them here that what I'm talking about. The first one, again, is the Megabass 262T glide bait. Here's just the size comparison. Here's the Megabass knuckle that I've been talking about the last couple of days next to it. So that you can see this knuckle's barely as big as the head of this thing on here. And then you got the Megabass Battle Lion or Battalion, however you want to pronounce it, 190, which is like a giant. It's sort of like a glide bait, but you can reel it like a crankbait, and it wobbles through the water, like that. Looks like a big perch. And then you have the Megabass Megadog topwater lure, which this thing is freaking giant too. There's the size comparison next to it. This thing's massive as well. So anyway, the times you want to throw this thing, springtime is definitely the best time you want to use these things. From the late pre-spawn up until the late post-spawn is, for the most part, your high percentage times to catch fish on these baits. The rest of the year, it's pretty tough. There is another window that occurs in sort of the mid to late fall when these things start working good. But for the most part, the window is really small. And on top of that, the specific day that you have weather-wise is going to dictate your success on it too. Most of the time, you're going to find out on these giant baits that the success you have on it are going to be on those nasty, windy type days. Cloudy, rainy, windy. That's when those bass, their ability to see is cut down a little bit, and they make a few more mistakes on those type of days. And a bait like this that's giant, and the commotion that they cause and the water that they push is offset by those weather conditions a little bit. So first of all, let's talk about the topwater here, the Megadog. This thing is a giant topwater, but it actually resembles a big gizzard shad, which is the size of a lot of the mature gizzard shad in the lake. This particular one, I would throw this bait during the post-spawn, like right time, sort of like right now for the next, month or so. This could be good. Situation like this, I'd be fishing this thing over main lake and secondary points over deeper water where the water's clear. In my experience here, and I'll be honest with you guys, I have not caught a fish. I haven't fished this thing enough yet because I haven't been in the situation. I have not caught one on the Megadog yet. But that's only because I haven't fished a lot. I'm going to start fishing a lot over the next 2 or 3 weeks. But the times that this thing is going to work, I can already tell you. It's going to be in clear water. Water visibility is like over 3 to 4 feet. Main lake points, secondary points, where you're pulling these fish up out of deep water. This is not going to be a bait that you're going to get many bites in shallow water. This is going to be a bait that's going to pull fish from a long distance away to come up and blast this thing. Another thing about these baits is you got to fish the lakes that have quality fish in it. If you've got a lake where a 3-pounder is considered a big one, it's not going to be that effective. But if you've got some lakes where there's quality bass in it and there's a population of those bass over 7 pounds, this is when these baits are going to shine. Now, the Battalion 190 or the Vatalion, this bait right here, I have caught some fish on it, and the times that I've caught fish on it, and this one has been limited to Florida. This bait right here seems to work pretty good for me over any type of deeper grass beds. If you've got grass beds that have grass coming to within 3 to 4 foot of the surface, and again, you've got that water clarity of over 2 foot, you can reel this thing over those grass beds. Just comes through the water like that. You can actually jerk it like a jerk bait, and it'll work like that. But I have caught fish over those deeper grass beds with it. I can see this thing working on places like Lake Fork, some of the TVA lakes that have grass, that type of stuff. And I've heard guys catching big smallmouth on this thing up north. So it's a big bait, but basically this thing resembles a big perch. This is a yellow perch here. Smallmouth feed on yellow perch. They've got some type of bluegill patterns too. And you take a 6 or 7 or 8 pound bass, and this is nothing right here for them to hit as far as the size goes. They'd eat that thing in a second. And the Megabass 262T, this is the bait I probably had the most success on. A lot of the success I've had on this bait has been pulling fish up, big fish up, to see that I have followed up with another bait. I've probably, out of the 262T, the times that I've thrown it, I've probably had, over the course of the years, I've probably had only about 50 bites or 50 fish actually go after this bait. Again, this bait weighs 6 ounces and is 12 inches long. Out of those fish, I've only had 5 or 6 of them that actually ate this thing, because you've got to have a big fish that's really aggressive to hit this thing. But I have had a lot of fish that I've pulled up and I've seen, and I've dropped a drop shot or wacky rig on and caught them. So that's, to me, that's one of the biggest advantages of throwing a lot of these giant plugs, is they'll pull a big bass out of cover, out of obvious cover, like main lake points, off of docks, off of bridge pilings, where you can follow them up with other baits. That's one of the things about these things, the attractant element of it. Not necessarily that they eat the thing a lot, but it gets back to the question again: is it worth your money? I mean, these baits are expensive. All of them are high dollar. And my answer to that is, if you're a serious angler and you like to catch big ones and you're after quality fish, absolutely they're worth the money. The good thing about these baits is you throw them on heavy line. You're throwing them on 25-pound test line, every one of them, or braided line, one of the two. I prefer 25-pound test, Seagar and Vizex on the battle line and the 262. But on the Mega Dog, I can tell you right now, I'd fish this on 50-pound braid, without even, any hesitation. So using that heavy tackle, you're not going to lose these things. I mean, unless you nail a bridge piling and break the thing, you'll probably have these things for years. So as far as the investment for them, it's not like you're going to lose a bunch of them. The thing about this is, when you do get these things, they require a commitment. I mean, these are type of baits that if you're serious about catching fish on them, you can't take anything but these baits out there. Like I said, I'm planning on a trip on Table Rock in the next couple weeks, where these are the only 2 baits I take with me. And I'm not going to take any other baits, just these 2 baits and 2 rods to throw them on, to force myself to throw them all day long. And that's what you have to have when you're fishing these giant oversized plugs, is you got to have a mentality shift to know that if you get a bite or 2 in a course of a day, you've had a good day. But both of those bites could be 10-pound fish. You just never know. So it's not for everybody. This type of fishing is appealing to those people that really like to catch giant bass and big fish. And after you throw them for 3 or 4 hours and not have a bite, you'll want to put it down. But the last time that I took the 262T out to Table Rock, I fished it for probably 6 hours. I had 3 bites on it, or 3 fish that went after it. I caught one of them. It was about a 4-pounder. I had another one about 6, and another one 4 to 5 pounds that followed the thing right to the boat and didn't hit it. And that was in a course of 6 hours of a 6 hour day on a cloudy, rainy type day. And that was in the late fall. So they're addictive to throw. And it's sort of the same too, like with this Megabass 10-inch mag draft. It's the same thing on that. But if you guys want to see how effective they are, go check out some of Oliver Nye's YouTube videos. He's got some stuff on there about catching giants on these things. And after you see the thing, you'll want to throw them. I mean, it's so crazy looking to throw them that it's something that I really like. Not much, these things are not really geared for tournament fishing. I mean, if you've got a good limit in the boat, like a big limit of fish, and you don't think you can upgrade doing what you're doing, yeah, you might put one of these things in a tournament, but these baits are nothing that I'd ever start out with in a tournament. So anyway, if you guys are interested in some of these, you can order them through Tackle Warehouse. I'll include the Fish of the Moment Tackle Warehouse link. If you guys would like to order one or two of them and use that link, Johnny and I get a small percentage of those profits that go to Fish of the Moment and helps us put these videos out and do stuff like that. So anyway, just a conversation on these giant plugs. Give them a try. Not for everybody, but I like them, and I'm gonna be throwing them over the next couple weeks, and I'll let you guys know how it turns out. So talk to you later. See you.